Don't not worry about the tax man because the tax man is going to worry about you. And a lot of people get in the trap of where they'll sell something, create a massive taxable event, not really think about it at the time because it's not like it's being taken immediately, right? And then they'll go into another high risk asset in crypto. And this is one thing that I think I can give out as a message to people in crypto who are cryptocurrency investors, because it's a very, very problematic scenario because things move so fast in crypto. So you might get into some random coin and it goes up 10x, for example. You take your profits and you say, great, I'm a genius. This is fantastic. Now I'm going to take that money and put it into another coin. Well, guess what? The next coin goes down 90%. Okay. So there's a bit of a write-off there, but you're still going to owe money, or maybe hold that coin for much longer and you don't get it till later, for example.
What's the biggest frustration when it comes to capital gains tax? It's maybe different than New Zealand and such, but what do people do when they want to be able to try to exit at different times and defer capital gains taxes? What have kind of been your strategy?
Tax is always a very problematic question, isn't it? It's very frustrating. When it comes to selling your cryptocurrencies, obviously we have very different approaches depending on what country you live in, but New Zealand's not super tax friendly towards crypto. There's been a push for more definitive legislation on crypto and specifically how it's taxed and stuff like that. Because in New Zealand, you get, there's no capital gains tax on real estate. They've made some exemptions now where it's like you have to hold the property for 5 years or something like that. And then there's no capital gains tax on it. And there's no capital gains tax on stocks. Cool, right? Crypto does not fall into that basket. So there's the full tax on it, basically. Now, one way that is possible to try to reap some kind of profit out of it, so to speak, but not actually have to sell and hit a taxable event, of course, is to borrow versus your Bitcoin. So this is something I've done recently, but it's tricky because your straight Bitcoin, it's problematic to try to find a lender you can trust. So you have to actually go on the blockchain to find a smart contract platform, but Bitcoin currently doesn't really offer very much of that natively. So you have to go and wrap your Bitcoin and put it on Ethereum or something like that, which creates a taxable event because you're going from Bitcoin to wrapped Bitcoin. So it's problematic. It's problematic. I feel like in New Zealand, and I've had long discussions about this with my accountant, there's not any real great strategies for trying to reduce the amount of tax that you get hit on when you move from one thing to another. And obviously it's a big question when you go to sell. Take care of your taxes. And I always tell people this is that worry about the tax. Don't not worry about the tax man because the tax man is going to worry about you. And a lot of people get in the trap of where they'll sell something, create a massive taxable event, not really think about it at the time because it's not like it's being taken immediately, right? And then they'll go into another high risk asset in crypto. And this is one thing that I think I can give out as a message to people in crypto who are cryptocurrency investors, because it's a very, very problematic scenario because things move so fast in crypto. So you might get into some random coin and it goes up 10x, for example. You take your profits and you say, great, I'm a genius. This is fantastic. Now I'm going to take that money and put it into another coin. Well, guess what? The next coin goes down 90%. Okay. So there's a bit of a write-off there, but you're still going to owe money, or maybe hold that coin for much longer and you don't get it till later, for example. Any kind of deferments. And so whatever you had on that initial gain, so in New Zealand, it'll be 39% likely, then you owe that money to the government. So my accountant was sharing an interesting story with me about a guy who made a whole bunch of money on Solana NFTs and then sold the NFTs, put all the money into Solana, which then went down 90%. And the government's like, yeah, well, that's great. Sorry about your holding that asset that's down 90% right now, but you actually owe us a whole crap load of money for all those NFTs that you sold into Solana. So be careful when you're moving between assets in crypto. Understand that every time you click the sell button, there's probably a taxable event attached to it.
You know, this is part of why we exist, right? And is to help people with this. In fact, we helped a client who exited. She had 50 million in Bitcoin. She never sold a coin until she met us. At 54,000 a coin, this is before the last crash, she sold 5 million into this trust that we work with, Capital Gains Tax Solutions. And this trust, it's interesting. You mentioned borrowing, right? Borrowing against, and you can, if you borrow, it's not a taxable event, right? When you borrow, take margin, right? Well, we do it in a scenario where you actually exit. She exited the Bitcoin by selling it to a trust in exchange for a promissory note. So she sold it on an installment. Someone has an installment sale for IRC 453 for U.S. citizens or anyone who has assets that are subject to capital gains tax. But the point is, she's able to defer it, 54,000 a coin. Now, the rest of her capital, I called her at 60,000 a coin and 65, and I said, "Hey, you want to sell some more?" She's like, "No, I'm going to wait. And the rest went down to 15,000 a coin. I think the low, right? Now we're about 64 today, I think, but we were high as 72. It's come back right after a couple of years. But the point of all this is there is a way to do it. I mean, this is my premise, Lark. Let me tell you what you think, right? The goal is to sell high and buy low, but never let capital gains tax be in the way. Right. So if there's a bridge between where you're at and where you want to be, you can be capital gains tax where you can sit on the sidelines. You can also diversify into multiple altcoins or into real estate, all tax deferred. Right. And you can create wealth on your timing. Right. And this is what we do. Right. So